A very good evening and welcome to a Date with a Dinner Set program number 287 here on January the 18th. You are most welcome. I hope this finds you well. Do you know that the temperature today reached a really dizzying height of 13 degrees? I think that's the highest. Well, it is the highest, certainly in this area this year. So it's very good to see you, and if you are with us live and chatting away, fantastic. And I know there are a few extra people who are live but prefer just to listen to enjoy the music. And if you're watching on catch-up, as most of you do, I hope you enjoy this evening's selection. So we've already got quite a bit of action going on, which is no surprise, in the chat room to say that our opening music this evening was indeed the Winnie the Pooh theme. The Winnie the Pooh theme. Oh, it's a really lovely bit of music, and it goes all the way back to 1966. That one, we've had it before, but it's such a lovely tune. It's worth repeating, and it's one of those that so many people sort of know or can hum or whistle a bit of it, and maybe even a few lyrics. And Disney having taken over the franchise of Winnie the Pooh in 1960, then it's become quite a feature for them. But it was quite big even in the 60s. And it was composed by Bob and Dick Sherman. I was almost said, of course, but they were really the resident sort of popular house composer boys of Walt Disney. And that very memorable theme was indeed one of theirs, composed by them. And we first heard it back in 1966 when it appeared in Winnie the Pooh and the Honey Tree. So I'm delighted to say that as of today, I've suddenly got a bit better, which is very exciting, really. So I'm running at about 60% efficiency now, which is good. Very good. So we'll have a sip of coffee, and I hope you enjoy this evening's program. If you want to join in the chat and tell us about what we're playing or the composers, then please do, or the context or anything else you are doing. Oh dear, is it grey and damp and coldish in Hereford? Possibly. Anyway, what we do? Coffee, and then music. Yes, yes, yes. As you have all correctly said, Diamonds Are Forever from 1971, the very famous theme song to the seventh James Bond film, Diamonds Are Forever. The one that was the return of Sean Connery. We'd had the sort of blip with George Lazenby in between, but they wanted Sean Connery back, and apparently he was told to name his price. So he did, and his price for that film in 1971 was 1.25 million, which is quite a lot of money. But lest you think he was being greedy, he actually used that money to set up an institute of education in Scotland. But really, I think it's well known that Sean Connery was well past the franchise by then. He was sort of fed up with it. But there we go. Oh, hello, Janet. Lovely to see you. I did see you yesterday. I did give you a little wave. So it's very good to see you this evening. Yes, in 1971, and of course that track composed by the wonderful Mr. John Barry. I do prefer the earlier pictures of John Barry, the 60s and 70s pictures, where he's always much happier there. I think he himself got a bit disenfranchised with the franchise itself in the 80s. But a very, very clever film composer, not just of the James Bond films, but all sorts of other films. We might have a John Barry evening one evening. That would have been an interesting one to do. And of course, as you have also said, who said it? Auntie Ros said it, as belted out by Whirly Shirley Bassey. Lovely, 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 fantastic Shirley Bassey, still going strong. So that was the second of the James Bond films that she sung. She had already done the 1964 Goldfinger one, and she was also to do come back for a third time to sing Moonraker. So a very memorable theme. Yeah, because I think things like Out of Africa and Born Free and all sorts of other things that John Barry did. I mean, he's most remembered for James Bond. But there we go. So I hope you enjoyed that one. That was our opening one this evening. Now look, I'm still going to be British and talk about the weather because I was going to mention that. Who is it? Alison. Yeah, I have noticed this week just a few minutes at either end of the day making all the difference as the days are starting to get a little bit. Thank you, Janet. Starting to get a bit longer and indeed brighter. Oh yeah. So, depending what rag you sort of read, I sort of read the digital rags, whatever I can get free in terms of news. Apparently, there's quite a big chance at the end of the month we're going to get Beast from the East 2.0. There's a sort of weather system which is sort of over that way in the east, and it will be competing with different airstreams, he said, trying to sound knowledgeable but failing hopelessly. And if it goes a certain way, then we'll get another one of those 600-mile wide snow bombs dumping its snow and ice upon us. It's certainly going to get colder. We can already see that in the temperatures if you look ahead about 10 days. So that's always something nice to look forward to, isn't it, at the end of the month? Anyway, let's have something a bit calmer after a little bit more coffee. Yes, as of course you all identified so quickly. In actual fact, only one person named it correctly. Good evening, Mr. Mark Turville. It was you, sir. It is one memory. I'm sure there are lots of memories, but the actual song is just the one word, memory. From Cats, of course, from 1981. It sounds like a long time ago, doesn't it? 1981. It is, quite an amazing piece, actually. Andrew Lloyd Webber is not everyone's cup of tea, but you've got to hand it to the guy. I mean, he's done pretty well, actually, and he's composed many a memorable musical and an equal number of that have, not quite hit the mark. So when he does get it right, he does get it right. And Memory is regularly in the top 3, apparently, of music theatre songs that are, the most well-known and possibly loved as well. And in the original production, of course, it starred the lovely Elaine Page there. There she is with Andrew. And she made it very, very famous, of course. There's been a bit of, over the years, there's been sort of controversy and almost lawsuits about Cats, because a lot of the sort of snooty critics said of Lloyd Webber, well, he's stolen it from Puccini. Now, there is a sort of germ of truth in that at the time Andrew Lloyd Webber was putting together something about Puccini, goodness only knows what. So he had started sort of, notebook scraps. But he himself became quite paranoid about it, so he asked his father, the very famous composer and organist William Lloyd Webber, and director of the London College of Music for quite some time. He said, can you go through my score? Have I actually unintentionally borrowed? And Lloyd Webber Senior said no, but I think you've just made yourself another $1 million. Apparently. So there you go. You hear it all, don't you, on this show? It's amazing. So there we go. That was our second one from 1981. Memory, as always. If you would love to press that thumbs up button, we would love to have your pressed up thumb or something, because it all does help the algorithm and the channel. So thank you very much in advance. So here's one we've only had once on the show in 287 programmes. I've got a feeling a lot of you will instantly know what it is. It's an iconic bit of music. I hope you enjoy. That's it. I told you get it straight away, straight away. Isn't it a beautiful bit of music? Absolutely fantastic. Who was first? Kate, followed by Alison. Yeah, absolutely. I just absolutely. Well, I love the program actually. I lost track of it after about 5 series. So it started back in 1981, and I believe it went on for nine series. But yeah, a hilariously funny program, written of course by the wonderful David Croft. And that bit of iconic music, I always thought for years and years and years, oh, it has to be Ronnie Hazelhurst. It's not actually. It's this chap, a chap called Roy Moore, and he did a lot of the David Croft series. Hello, Martin. Hello, Jeannie. Wow, brilliant, fantastic. How absolutely wonderful to see you. Spectacular. Yeah, so he did a lot of David Croft ones. He's still very much with us. He's a composer, a arranger, does a lot of TV scoring. In fact, he did a lot of the underscoring for Lord of the Rings, as well as for Dr. Beeching and You Rang My Lord, etc., etc. But all of the music, including that theme tune to ALLO, ALLO. The theme tune's actually credited to David Croft as well. David Croft is one of those people who can actually he can actually compose, he can't play, and I suspect he sort of hums it and then has people like Roy Moore to help him with it. But yeah, I mean, just some of those ridiculous scenes from ALLO, ALLO. But it's a beautiful piece of Parisian style music. ALLO, ALLO, of course, set in Nouvion, but they didn't go anywhere near Nouvion. It was all filmed in Norfolk, apparently. Yes, who said something about... Yes, Miles. It's a shame Miles isn't with us. He was with us last week because Miles, back in the mid-80s, was in an episode of ALLO, ALLO as somebody called Captain Frobisher. I hope he won't mind me showing this. There he is, in all his glory. I believe it was only 1 or 2 episodes he was in about a 2nd or 3rd series. So there we go. It all happens here, doesn't it? So this week's upload, I've been trying to do in January things to sort of get away from the grey skies, the miserable sort of January weather. So Feel Good Piano Music has been the title for the Friday uploads. And the one that I did on Friday was a popular song from William Walton's Façade. And I had a lot of fun doing this. Fun in several ways, actually. Fun because it's a lovely bit of daft music and such fun to play. And fun because it took me about 30 goes until I was sort of relatively happy with it not being too splodgy. So that short little 2.5-minute ditty from Walton's Façade from 1922, I believe, is on the channel, and as always there is a direct link to it beneath what you're watching currently if you want to remind yourself of that. If you don't know popular song by its title, it's was also used as the theme music to Face for Music from the mid-60s onwards. So that was our upload this week, so do give that a shout out. I know many of you have done already, and it's fantastic to have you both with us. Fantastic, wonderful, more than wonderful. That's a very interesting cue for our next song, actually. Do enjoy. Are we going to give Mark a point for that? Mark and Judy? Probably. They say it's wonderful. From Annie Get Your Gun, all the way back to 1946. A wonderful musical. It's a lovely song, Alison, isn't it? Fantastic. And there's quite a bit of history to Annie Get Your Gun, roughly based on the story of Annie Oakley. As you can see there in the bottom left, it says here 10 Irving Berlin songs. I mean, not, some musicals you maybe get one or two good songs, but absolute bangers throughout. Annie Get Your Gun, that one, There's No Business Like Show Business, You Can't Get a Man with a Gun, Anything You Can Do, I Can Do Better, blah 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 blah. What an amazing songsmith was Mr. Irving Berlin. As we say so often on this channel, nearly 1,500 songs to his credit, and so many of them are just absolute crackers. Demi-point. I'll give you 3/4 of a point, because we know in all fairness, it was a lot more accurate than a lot of your normal guesses, wasn't it? Rather a sad story, though, to Irving Berlin being the composer and indeed the lyricist for Annie Get Your Gun, because that wasn't the intention. The original show was actually put on, produced, if you like, by Rodgers and Hammerstein. Yes, they were sort of impresarios as well as composers of musicals themselves. And they had actually commissioned Jerome Kern to write the score for it. Jerome Kern had been away in Hollywood composing for films. And he'd just come back to New York, and he'd only been back 3 days when he suffered, sadly, a massive brain hemorrhage and died about a week later. So he could not compose the music for that. So they asked Irving Berlin, and Irving Berlin really did have to be persuaded. He did not think he was capable of writing enough good tunes, so to speak. So it was wonderful that Richard Rodgers and Oscar Hammerstein actually persuaded him to do that, to have the confidence to carry that through, because I absolutely love that musical. I'm not sure it's put on that many times these days. They did have a revival of it in West End in 1986. There was a revival of it. In fact, another factoid here, when they had that revival in the West End in 1986, Susie Quattro, yeah, there's a name from a rock and roll past, was Annie Oakley, as opposed to in the original production on Broadway it was Ethel Merman. I know you were saying that to yourselves. I'm going to press this button now that says if you're not subscribed to the channel, then please jolly well do so. We'd love to have you as part of our YouTube Gigi the Piano Man community. We have gained another 2 subscribers this week, which is tickety-boo. Fantastic. We always like that. So hope you enjoyed that gentle one. Here's another one we haven't had, in fact, for nearly 2 years, but it's quite a well-known bit of music. Again, it comes with some history as well, which we'll tell you about afterwards. If you haven't already typed it in, do enjoy our next one. Yes, yes, yes. Hannah was very quick in on that one. It was indeed the fantastic Lullaby of Birdland by the equally amazing Mr. George Shearing. I didn't know until relatively recently. He composed about 300 pieces. He's done loads and loads of arrangements. A very, very stylish pianist. Born blind, born in Battersea. Spent a lot of his time in America and created a very famous sound in the 1950s for George Shearing's sound, where he would play block chords, 5-note chords, and the melody would be doubled on the top with a vibraphone and doubled underneath with a guitar as well. Very, very classic sound. That song all the way from 1952, and as my brother has sort of said, really, it was composed for the owner of the famous Birdland Jazz Club in New York, which had opened in the late 1940s. There's the original one on your screen now with a sort of hood going out. It has moved location. It was originally on 52nd Street. I believe it is now on Lower 44th Street. But it is the same sort of jazz club that's attracted so many amazing musicians over the years. They always look a bit sort of grubby from the outside, jazz clubs, and a bit dingy, but it's just the way they are. It's a bit like if those of you that know Ronnie Scott's in Soho in London, you could walk past it and you'd miss it. You'd really have to know where the entrance is. I mean, you go down this tiny little corridor into this tiny little arena, but inside that arena, that's where all the magic happens. Good evening, Jean. Yes, indeed, Lullaby of Birdland, all the way from 1952 by the wonderful Mr. George Shearing. There are so many anecdotes I could tell you about George Shearing. I can't think of a single one that's suitable for a family show, to be quite honest, but what an amazing man. He lived a grand life, really enjoyed it to the full 92 years, I believe. So just before we go into our final bit of music, we started the show all that time ago, many hours ago when we started the programme, with the theme from Winnie the Pooh, and that wasn't an accident really. It is because today, January the 18th, is National Winnie the Pooh Day. Oh, isn't that fantastic? And the reason for that, January the 18th, is that it is the birthday of A.A. Milne, who was born in 1882. And, of course, famously composed the 4 books related to Winnie the Pooh and all those characters, and written for, as we famously know, his son Christopher Robin Milne. And I think I said earlier, Disney picked up the franchise in 1960 and we're still going strong with it in various ways. So that is why we had that today, and that is what we are also celebrating today, National Winnie the Pooh Day. Oh, isn't that fantastic? So there we go. We're going to go into our last bit of music, something lively to finish. We've had it before. I hope you enjoy it. Yes, indeed. As Jill said there, it is it still is, the One Note Samba by Antonio Carlos Jobim, Tom Jobim from 1960. Well, I say from 1960. 1960 was when it was first recorded by João Gilberto. It's been covered by so many people since Quincy Jones, Sergio Mendes, etc. It's absolutely fantastic. Such a groovy, lively samba. I absolutely love it. I mean, it's more than one note in it, but the reason it gets that name obviously is because it spends such a long time on one tone before moving on. So that was our lively end to this evening's programme for 1960, the One Note Samba by Tom Jobim. I hope you have enjoyed this evening's programme. I've had, as always, a wonderful time preparing and thinking what we're going to play and putting it together, and you make it all the more special by listening. That is the most important part. So I do hope you have a very good week that is to come, and I look forward to the great pleasure of playing for you again next Sunday evening. In the meantime, do have a very good week and take good care of yourselves. Thanks so much for listening. All the very best and good night.